Welcome to Money Matters. I am Emily Johnson, Certified Financial Planner and Managing Director of Polaris Capital Advisors, and I am joined today by the one and only DCrowell of Mortgage Network. We are here to discuss all things where your money matters, and I apologize for my voice today. It actually is my voice, it's not your television. So we wanted to start with a little bit of an opportunity for you, if you will, in the field of refinancing your mortgage. So.
Absolutely. We make a practice on Money Matters of Emily as a financial advisor, very rarely, if ever, shilling advertising for her business, which is Polaris Capital. And I've been pretty conscientious over the years of, even though I'm a mortgage banker and even though my company is Mortgage Network, we very rarely just self-promote and self-advertise.
No, we stick to the very high intellectual pursuit of economics and high finance and exactly politics.
Right.
Yes,
and we
but
really,
today
and we really
we're going back to the roots.
We're going back to the roots. We really are quite conscientious about it because otherwise it just becomes a half-hour advertisement for her business or my business every time, and that might get exciting for 15 minutes of one show, but then nobody would ever watch again. So we're conscientious about it. But
that said,
we are coming to the end of a very long cycle of very, very low interest rates. This started at the time of the Great Recession in 2008. Rates began toppling. They reached 60-year lows in third quarter, fourth quarter of 2008, and into 2009 we reached the lowest rates that they'd basically ever been in the modern era since World War II. We have astoundingly stayed at that low trough, that low kind of rate ditch for a very, very long time.
Yes, it's been wonderful.
Fascinating phenomenon.
Yep.
And somehow the economy has grown all from 2009. It's grown every quarter for the last
Little by little, there's baby
9
steps.
years,
Yep.
and still the rates have stayed low.
Right.
So we've talked on the show 100 times about this phenomenon of a growing economy and yet still low rates, stable rates. We talked about this phenomenon.
And many people have taken advantage of that when it comes to their mortgage, and many people have taken advantage of that when it comes to their 401ks. But you feel when it comes to the interest rate side of this that's coming to an end.
20% of you, roughly, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, 20% of you watching right now, because of your age profile, I don't want to say anything offensive to the people watching, but because of your age profile, it may be even as much as 30% of you have mortgages that must be advantageously refinanced in the next short period of time. What's a short period of time? The next 3, 4, 5 months. You got to do it. You still have mortgages that should be advantageously refinanced. If you have a mortgage that's at 4 3/8% or higher, it's very likely that we can greatly reduce the interest rate and the term, and/or reduce the interest rate with the same term. So it's, we were just joking before the show, I'm a little bit older than Emily, but I still might inconveniently live for another 20 years or another 25 years. Emily, on the other hand, is going to live for another 50 years, for God's sake.
Jeez.
It's getting a 30-year mortgage. I want to explode some myths, and I have people who call me every single week and say, well, I'm 78 years old. I'm sure you don't give 30-year mortgages to 78-year-olds.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
Not the Grim Reaper doesn't come in and on your mortgage application and say, thinking he's probably an 18-year term is good.
That has nothing to do with it. It's a financial piece of paper. You're buying a 30-year financial piece of paper. If you die in year 2, that's perfectly fine. The house will be sold as part of your estate and the mortgage will be paid off. No problem. The mortgage rates
I want to interrupt. One other thing to add to that is I talk with clients about that all the time that will say, well, shouldn't I get a 15-year mortgage if I'm 70 years old or something like that? Because they actually think they want to, in their mind, and this is sort of what people have been trained to think, that they should pay off their mortgage, shouldn't have a mortgage. Why 15 years at that point, I don't know. But that's the thought, is I'll pay more every single month so that somehow I will have no mortgage when I'm 85. When, in my opinion, and I think you share the same opinion, is the 30-year makes more sense because you actually buy flexibility. So if you want to double your mortgage payment every month, you can. If you want to triple it every month, you can. But this way, if you run into something, you end up spending more money for whatever reason, whether it's healthcare costs or because you want to take a bunch of trips, you buy that flexibility that you have that lower mortgage cost. And more than likely, you're going to have some form of a mortgage and or rent throughout. So, I try to recommend more flexibility.
For somebody in that scenario, as Emily correctly says, the only thing that they're doing by paying, or the only thing you're doing by paying off the mortgage super quick, and beating the Grim Reaper by a month. So you pay the mortgage off, you have the mortgage burning ceremony, and then you die. What you've done is
And you get rid of your insurance companies.
You've left a house free and clear to your heirs and assigns. So you basically, it's an old American dream that you leave the house, you leave your estate with no debt on it, and pass it on to your children, and they do as they please. Well, I'm here to tell you that in the last 15 or 20 years of your life, exactly as Emily said, the most important thing to you is cash flow. You need monthly cash flow to be able to live a fun, together, flexible life. If you take a $100,000 15-year mortgage, you're going to pay $800 a month. If you take a $100,000 30-year mortgage, you're going to pay $485 a month. So you can do the multiplication yourself. The 15-year mortgage puts tremendous pressure on your cash flow for no real good purpose. All you're doing is taking a lump of money from your left pocket, putting it into your right pocket, but your right pocket has a zipper on it where you can't get at the money. You can't get at the money without
Expense, really.
Without having a cash-out refinance when you're 92, which isn't going to happen. You can remember the pocket's zipped, so the only other way of getting at the money is to sell the house. So it's kind of dumb to put it in that pocket. It's better to keep it over in the pocket that you can actually reach into and get the money. And
Right.
that's I mean,
And that
I don't
cuts
mean to
against
be
the-
oversimplistic.
That
but
cuts against a lot of people's thought process.
it really does.
Yeah.
What time
I
is it?
interrupted your interest rate discussion.
No, it's
What
perfectly
time is it?
fine. What time is it? The time has come. 15-year rates. If you're 50 years old and you want to retire with no mortgage, if you're 50 to 55 years old, want to retire with no mortgage, you should do a 15-year fixed. You should do it today. It's 3.5%.
Wow.
It's still remarkably low. If you're 60 years old, 65 years old, 70 years old, you should absolutely do a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. It's 3.99%, and do it immediately. It's insane not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I never talk this way on our Money Matters show. I am proud of the fact that I'd rather talk about Brexit and about the Chinese economy and about the theory of economics as it evolved in the 19th century during the Industrial Revolution. I'd rather talk about all of that. But I'm here today to tell you that you must call Mortgage Network and you must refinance, because you've got a window after 9 years of low rates. You've got a window only for another 3-6
And I think it's fair to say that truly over the last 9 years, we have been feeling like this is going to come to an end, and then for the last couple of years, I guess, we've been thinking it's never going to come to an end. That really, it seems like this low, what we thought that 4% was high on, the 10-year, we thought it was low on the 10-year, and then it goes down to, 2, 1.9, 2.10. So it's, definitely been.
But now it's up to, what is it, 2.4, 2.4, 2.42, 2.43. It's moving.
So it's worth taking a look at. So the other thing that I want to point out from just this little, from this particular advertisement is that there are so many people that actually have been refinancing over the last several years, I guess, that's one more reason that we actually have lots and lots and lots of evidence to discuss a lot of the financial planning aspects and a lot of the other topics that we discuss, because we truly have exposure to a huge array of people.
Between us.
Between us,
Between us, it's
largely
amazing.
here
Yeah.
in here in Hilton Head, but folks come here from everywhere. So it's pretty interesting that because of this interest rate opportunity, we've actually had more opportunities to meet and have these conversations, which has shed a lot more light on what really is going on Main Street, I think, anyway.
Absolutely. We'll
So-
be back for the second half of Money Matters. Hang on. Don't go away.
See you in a minute.